Dear ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment standing on the edge of a vast, mysterious ocean. You can feel the wind on your face, the rhythm of the waves calling to you. You know you must dive in, but there's hesitation. Can you trust the waters to hold you? Will it carry you to the shores you've dreamed of? This is the essence of trust. It is the first step toward everything you desire, yet many hold back, paralyzed by fear or uncertainty. Trust is not a passive act. It is an active surrender of the ego, a letting go of the illusion that you can control every detail of your life. The moment you decide to trust, you begin to flow with life instead of resisting it. But trusting, especially when it comes to matters of the heart, is not always easy. In a world where we are taught to fight for everything, to chase and to compete, trusting God feels like a radical act. But it is precisely this trust that opens the door to miracles. Imagine for a moment standing on the edge of a vast, mysterious ocean. You can feel the wind on your face, the rhythm of the waves calling to you. You know you must dive in, but there's hesitation. Can you trust the waters to hold you? Will it carry you to the shores you've dreamed of? This is the essence of trust. It is the first step toward everything you desire, yet many hold back, paralyzed by fear or uncertainty. Trust is not a passive act. It is an active surrender of the ego, a letting go of the illusion that you can control every detail of your life. The moment you decide to trust, you begin to flow with life instead of resisting it. But trusting, especially when it comes to matters of the heart, is not always easy. In a world where we are taught to fight for everything, to chase and to compete, trusting feels like a radical act. We are conditioned to believe that we must grab hold of our desires, force them into existence, and control the path that we take. But that's not the way life works. Life is not meant to be controlled in every aspect. There is a flow to it, and to align with that flow requires you to surrender. This act of trust involves letting go of the need to know every outcome, of the need to control the future. It's about accepting that you cannot predict the twists and turns of your journey, and that is the beauty of it. The universe has a way of surprising you in ways that go far beyond your imagination. You may want a specific outcome, but the truth is, life may have something even better in store for you, something that, at the moment, you cannot foresee. Trusting in this unknown, embracing it with open arms is the key. You see, trust is not just about hoping for the best, it is about believing in something greater than yourself. It is about having faith in the process of life itself. It's a recognition that you are not alone in this journey, and that there is a force beyond your understanding that is guiding you toward what is right for you. When you trust, you begin to release the need to constantly control the outcome. Instead, you give yourself the freedom to experience life as it comes, knowing that it is unfolding in a way that is best for you. When it comes to matters of the heart, trust becomes even more crucial. It is not just about trusting the universe, it is about trusting your own worth, and trusting that the right person will come into your life at the right time. So often we feel the urge to chase after love, to force a connection, to find someone who will fill the gaps in our lives. But love cannot be chased. Love cannot be forced into existence. It must be allowed to grow naturally, like a seed in the soil. It needs the space to breathe, to unfold, and to reveal itself. Trusting in love means allowing it to find you. It means surrendering the desire to control when or how it will happen. The more you chase after love, the more you push it away. But when you trust that the right person will come when the time is right, you release the burden of forcing it. This trust transforms your life. It shifts your focus from the act of seeking to the act of becoming. Instead of worrying about finding love, you begin to focus on becoming the person who is ready to receive it. Trust is not always an easy path, but it is the most rewarding. It's about having faith in what you cannot see, believing in the unseen forces that are working on your behalf. When you trust, you are saying that you believe the journey, however long it may take, will lead you to exactly where you need to be. It may not be the exact destination you imagine, but it will be the place where you are meant to grow, learn, and ultimately meet the person who is right for you. And so when you trust, you embrace the unknown. You step into the mystery of life with open arms, willing to take each step forward with the belief that whatever comes your way is exactly what you need. Trust is the bridge between your desire and its fulfillment. It is the quiet certainty that life is unfolding just as it should, and that in the end, all will be well. So you might ask, why do we feel the need to control our destinies? The answer is simple: fear. Fear that things won't go the way we want them to. Fear that we might get hurt. Fear that we won't be enough. But here's the truth: life is not something you can mold into perfection by force. We live in a world that glorifies control, where every aspect of our life seems to demand our attention. We are taught from an early age to take charge, to compete, to climb higher, and to win. Control is seen as power, as strength, as the path to success. We are conditioned to believe that we must have everything planned, everything mapped out, and every step carefully calculated. But in doing so, we lock ourselves in a cage of our own making. The more we try to control, the less we allow life to unfold naturally. We are like artists trying to force the paint to do exactly what we want, ignoring the beauty of a brushstroke that has a life of its own. The need for control becomes even more pronounced in matters of the heart. We try to manipulate situations, relationships, and even the people in our lives to fit our desired narrative. We set standards, expectations, and timelines, believing that if we can just make everything work according to our plans, we will find happiness. But the problem with this is that we are trying to force a connection that should naturally flow. We treat love like a project, a goal to be achieved, when in reality, love is something that should be allowed to evolve on its own terms. When you try to control your heart and who you let in, could to close yourself off from the very thing you want most: true love. True love cannot be controlled. It cannot be coerced into being. It happens when you least expect it, when you let go of your rigid timelines and open yourself to the possibility that life has a plan of its own. The more you try to control when or how love will come, the more you distance yourself from it. You may even end up pushing the very thing you seek away, simply because you are grasping too tightly, afraid that it might slip away. In order to truly experience love, you must learn to release the need to control it. This does not mean giving up on love or abandoning your desires, but rather recognizing that there is a natural rhythm to it. Love has its own timing, and that timing is often different from the one we envision. There is a lesson in learning to surrender, to trust that life will bring you the right partner at the right time in the right way. When you release your grip on control, you open yourself up to the beauty and mystery of love as it unfolds. Letting go of control also requires trust in yourself. It means recognizing that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to shape yourself into something you think others will want. The more you embrace who you truly are, the less you will feel the need to manipulate situations or relationships. You will be able to simply be. You will no longer feel the need to earn love or chase it, because you will understand that it is not about meeting someone else's standards, but about connecting with someone who sees you for who you truly are. The desire to control often comes from insecurity, the fear that if we don't take charge, we will lose our place, our opportunity, or our chance at happiness. But when you trust that you are worthy of love just as you are, you no longer feel the need to control everything around you. You begin to trust in the flow of life and allow it to lead you where you need to go. This trust doesn't mean inaction, it means understanding that you can't dictate the course of your life every moment. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and let life reveal itself to you. In the end, control is an illusion. It's a safety net we create to shield ourselves from the unknown, from the vulnerability of letting go. But true strength lies in the ability to release the need to control and to trust in the process of life. By relinquishing the idea that we can orchestrate everything, we allow ourselves to experience the beauty of what unfolds naturally, whether it's a relationship, a career, or simply life itself. And in this space of surrender, we find peace, we find love, and we find that the things we most desire come to us not through force, but through the gentle unfolding of life itself. The concept of divine timing is not some abstract notion. It is the fundamental understanding that everything in life happens at its own perfect time. We live in a world where instant gratification has become the norm. You send a text, and within seconds you receive a reply. You order something online, and it arrives the next day. We've come to expect everything to happen quickly, as if the speed at which things unfold determines their value. But when it comes to matters of the heart, and especially love, timing is everything. There is an art to waiting. Waiting is not about sitting idly by, twiddling your thumbs, or wasting time. It's about being patient and understanding that life will not always go at the pace we expect. Waiting is an active process. It is about being present, learning, and growing in the meantime. We often mistake waiting for a passive, unproductive state. But the truth is, some of our most transformative moments happen in the waiting. It is in those quiet periods when nothing seems to be happening that we prepare ourselves for what is coming. Timing is a delicate dance between action and patience. It requires that you take steps forward when the moment is right and take a step back when the time isn't quite right. The universe has a rhythm, and when we try to rush things, we disturb that natural flow. The right partner, the right opportunity, the right moment, it all comes when it is supposed to, not when we demand it. And this is the truth many of us struggle with. We want things now on our own terms, in our own way. We don't like to wait. But in the grand scheme of life, divine timing is always perfect. Consider a seed being planted in the ground. It doesn't grow overnight. It doesn't sprout the moment you plant it. It takes time. It needs the right conditions to flourish. You can't force a seed to grow faster than it's supposed to. You can't rush nature. Similarly, love cannot be rushed. Relationships take time to grow and develop. It's not about finding someone to fill a void in your life, but about finding someone who complements the life you've already created. The right relationship will grow naturally when the time is right. We often think we need to make things happen. We think that love or any aspect of our lives is something we must push for and control. But the most beautiful and meaningful things in life often come when we let go of the need to force them. Life has a rhythm of its own, and the more we try to impose our will on it, the more we disrupt that natural flow. Divine timing teaches us that everything unfolds exactly when it is meant to. The universe has a plan for each of us, and it's not about us rushing ahead. It's about us aligning ourselves with that plan. The moments in between, those periods of uncertainty or waiting, are never wasted. They are times of growth, reflection, and preparation. They are times when we learn more about ourselves and prepare ourselves for the love and opportunities that are on the horizon. These are the moments where we evolve, refine our values, and shape ourselves into the person who is ready for what life has in store. If you are impatient, desperate, or constantly looking for the next thing, you miss the beauty of the present moment. It is in those quiet moments, those periods of waiting, that we discover the true meaning of trust and patience. Many of us feel that we are falling behind, that life is moving on without us, or that everyone else is finding their way while we are left behind. But divine timing reminds us that everything happens when it's supposed to. There is no rush, no race. Life will unfold at its own pace, and your path will cross with the right person at the right time when you are truly ready. Until then, trust that the waiting period is as important as the end result. We must learn to let go of our timeline and embrace the fact that the universe has its own. This doesn't mean sitting back passively and doing nothing, but rather trusting that when the time is right, everything will fall into place. The perfect person will come into your life when you've aligned with your true self, when you are ready to receive love, and when the universe sees fit. In the meantime, don't waste the moments waiting for what's next. Use them to grow, to be present, and to prepare for what's coming. Trust that the right time is always the perfect time. Expectations are another subtle force that keeps us from trusting God's plan. When you expect something to unfold a certain way, you are inadvertently controlling the outcome. But life does not work in straight lines. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's beautiful in its unpredictability. Expectations can be limiting. They bind you to a rigid vision of how things should be, how your life should look, or how love should appear. When you hold on tightly to expectations, you limit your ability to truly experience life as it unfolds. Instead of embracing the unknown, you are often fighting against it, trying to force the pieces into a puzzle that isn't meant to be solved in the way you envision. The moment you set expectations, you close yourself off to the beauty of life's surprises. You might think you want one thing, but the universe may have something even better in store for you. Yet, if your expectations are set, you will miss it because you're so focused on your plan that you cannot see beyond it. When it comes to relationships, expectations can be particularly harmful. We often carry a list in our minds of all the traits, qualities, and behaviors we expect in a partner. The perfect person must meet all of these criteria for us to consider them worthy of our love. But what happens when someone who doesn't fit all the boxes shows up? If you've held on to your expectations too tightly, you might not even give them a chance. You might dismiss them because they don't meet your predefined standards. But in doing so, you might miss out on a connection that could change your life in ways you never anticipated. Life is full of surprises, many of which do not match our expectations. Think about it. When was the last time something unexpected happened to you that turned out to be far better than you ever imagined? The surprises, the twists, the turns, and the unpredictability of life are what make it so exciting and meaningful. When you let go of expectations, you create space for magic to happen. You no longer feel confined by a vision of how things should be, but rather open to the way they could be, something far more beautiful, far more fulfilling than you could ever planned for yourself. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have desires, dreams, or wishes for your life. It means that you should not become so attached to the specific form they take. Life might bring you exactly what you need, but it might come in a form you didn't foresee. When you let go of rigid expectations, you allow the possibility of something greater, something more in tune with your soul's true needs to unfold naturally. Letting go of expectations also frees you from the disappointment that often comes when things don't go as planned. When we place our happiness in the hands of expectations, we are setting ourselves up for potential disappointment. We've all experienced the frustration of having things not go the way we wanted them to. But by releasing expectations, we take back our power. We no longer rely on external circumstances to define our happiness. We become more flexible, more open to whatever comes our way, knowing that whatever happens is part of our journey. In relationships, releasing expectations is one of the most liberating acts you can undertake. You begin to see your partner not as someone who is supposed to fulfill a checklist of things, but as a person with their own path, their own story, and their own growth. When you approach relationships with an open heart, free from the constraints of expectation, you are giving yourself the chance to truly experience love for what it is. You no longer expect someone to complete you because you are already complete. You no longer expect them to change to fit your ideal. You accept them for who they are. And this acceptance is the key to building a deep, meaningful connection. When you stop expecting the perfect partner, you create space for a real relationship to grow. A relationship based on trust, understanding, and mutual respect, not on the idea that one person must meet a set of arbitrary standards. When you let go of expectations, you allow love to bloom naturally and to be even more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. Expectations may offer a sense of security, but they also limit your potential for true happiness. By releasing them, you allow yourself to be open to whatever life presents. It's not about settling for less, but about understanding that the best things often come in unexpected ways, and the right person for you may not fit into your preconceived mold. It's about trusting the flow of life and being willing to accept whatever comes your way, knowing that it's leading you exactly where you need to go. The beauty of life lies not in our expectations, but in our ability to surrender to its mystery and embrace the unknown with open arms. When you trust in divine timing and let go of expectations, you make space for something truly transformative: surrender. This is not the same as giving up. It's not about letting go of your desires, your hopes, or your dreams. It's about releasing your need to control every outcome and allowing life to unfold in its own natural rhythm. Surrender is a powerful act of faith. It's a conscious decision to accept that there are things beyond your understanding, things beyond your control, that are working for you, not against you. Surrender is one of the most liberating things you can do. It's the realization that life doesn't need to be forced. It's the understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do is simply let go and trust. It is when you release the burden of having to figure everything out, when you stop trying to micromanage every aspect of your life, that true transformation occurs. Surrender isn't weakness, it's strength in recognizing that you don't have to have everything under control to be okay. It's the strength to trust the process of life even when you don't have all the answers. In relationships, surrender is essential. Think about how often we try to force things, whether it's trying to make someone feel a certain way, pushing a connection to grow faster than it's meant to, or attempting to shape a partner into the person we think they should be. When you surrender, you stop controlling the narrative. You allow things to unfold naturally without trying to dictate the pace or the form they take. You stop trying to fit love into the boxes you've created and let it be what it is meant to be. True surrender also means acknowledging your own imperfections and being okay with them. When you let go of the need to be perfect or to have everything figured out, you create space for the authentic you to shine through. You stop pretending to be someone you're not, and in that authenticity, you become magnetic to the right person. You stop performing for the approval of others, and instead, you attract love and connection based on who you truly are, not the version of yourself you think others want to see. But surrender is not passive. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about actively choosing to let go of the need for control and instead focusing on what you can control: your own thoughts, your own actions, your own growth. Surrender is about being present, living in the moment, and letting life surprise you. It's about putting in the work, but trusting that things will come to fruition in their own time, not according to your timeline. Surrendering also means trusting that you are exactly where you need to be. Many times we feel like we're behind in life, like we should have achieved more or reached certain milestones by a specific age. We get anxious about where we are, comparing ourselves to others. But surrender teaches us that we are on the path we are meant to be on, and everything is unfolding as it should. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. When you surrender to that truth, you release the anxiety and pressure of rushing to meet arbitrary goals or milestones. There's a profound peace that comes with surrender. When you let go of the constant need to control, when you stop fighting the flow of life, you enter a state of serenity. You stop feeling the weight of trying to get everything right, and you start enjoying the ride. Surrender doesn't mean passivity or complacency. It means trusting that as long as you are living authentically and doing your best, life will take care of the rest. In matters of love, surrender can be a transformative force. Many people approach love as a task to be completed or a goal to be achieved. But love is not something to chase or control, it's something to experience, to feel, and to grow within. When you stop looking for love and let it come to you naturally, when you surrender your need to force it, you open yourself up to the kind of love that is authentic, pure, and true. The right person will find you not when you force it, but when you create the space for it to come into your life. And that space is made by surrender, by letting go of all the preconceived ideas about what love should look like, by trusting in divine timing, and by allowing yourself to simply be open to whatever comes your way. When you surrender, you stop searching for validation and instead you start building a life that is fulfilling on its own. And when you are truly content with yourself, when you are complete on your own, love will come to you naturally without force or expectation. In the end, surrender is about trust. It's about trusting in yourself, in the process of life, and in the divine timing that is unfolding around you. It's about letting go of the need to control, to manipulate, to rush. It's about being present and allowing life to reveal itself to you in its own time and in its own way. Surrender is not the end of your journey, it's the beginning of a deeper, more peaceful, and more fulfilling life. At the heart of trusting God and letting the right person find you is the concept of self-love. You cannot fully embrace love from others until you first recognize and appreciate the love within yourself. Self-love is not about being narcissistic or selfish, but about understanding your inherent worth, recognizing you're accepting yourself fully, flaws, imperfections, and all. It's about cultivating a deep sense of respect and care for who you are, independent of external validation or the approval of others. When you love yourself, you stop seeking validation from others. You begin to understand that your worth is not tied to what others think of you or how they treat you. This inner recognition of your own value allows you to approach relationships from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You no longer feel the need to find someone to complete you because you already feel complete within yourself. You no longer look to others for validation because you've learned to validate yourself. This self-love is the foundation upon which all other love is built. The journey towards self-love often requires healing. Many of us have been hurt, disappointed, or let down by others, and these experiences shape how we view ourselves. We may have been made to feel unworthy or unloved, and as a result, we carry these wounds into our relationships. But healing is not just about letting go of past pain, it's about learning to see yourself through the lens of compassion and understanding. It's about acknowledging that your past does not define your present or future. It's about giving yourself permission to heal, to grow, and to be the person you are meant to be, free from the chains of past hurt. Self-love also means setting boundaries. Many of us are afraid of setting boundaries because we fear rejection or conflict. But setting boundaries is not about shutting others out, it's about protecting your energy and maintaining your peace. It's about knowing when to say no and understanding that saying no to others is sometimes saying yes to yourself. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. When you learn to set healthy boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, and you show them that you value yourself enough to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Moreover, self-love means caring for your physical, mental, emotional health. It means prioritizing your well-being, taking time for self-care, and making choices that nurture your body, mind, and spirit. It's about understanding that you are deserving of the same love and care you so often give to others. When you love yourself, you make decisions that support your growth and happiness, whether it's pursuing a passion, taking time to relax, or choosing relationships that lift you up rather than drain you. The importance of self-love extends beyond individual well-being. It has a profound impact on the relationships you build. When you truly love yourself, you attract people who mirror that same respect and care. You no longer settle for toxic relationships or partnerships that don't align with your values. Instead, you draw in those who recognize and appreciate your worth. You begin to attract people who see you as whole, as enough, and as worthy of love. And this mutual respect and admiration create a foundation for a healthy, loving relationship. Self-love also means embracing your uniqueness. Far too often we compare ourselves to others, thinking we are not enough or not like the people around us. But true self-love is about celebrating your individuality. It's about recognizing that your quirks, your experiences, your passions, and your dreams make you who you are. And that is something to be cherished. When you embrace your authentic self, you give others the space to do the same. And when you find someone who loves you for the real, unfiltered version of yourself, you experience a love that is deep, genuine, and lasting. The more you practice self-love, the more you begin to attract the kind of love you truly deserve. You stop seeking love from a place of neediness or desperation, and instead, you allow love to come to you naturally. You trust that the right person will find you when the time is right, but in the meantime, you are content with the love you give yourself. This inner peace and self-acceptance create an energy that draws the right people into your life. Self-love is not a destination, it is an ongoing journey. It requires patience, commitment, and consistency. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when you feel insecure, or when you fall short of your own expectations. But self-love is about showing up for yourself. Even in those moments, it's about being kind to yourself, forgiving yourself, and allowing yourself to be imperfect. It's about growing and evolving, but always with a sense of compassion and grace toward yourself. When you truly love yourself, you create the space for the right relationships to blossom and for the love you seek to find you. You stop looking for external validation, and instead you find contentment within. You no longer feel incomplete without a partner, but instead approach love from a place of wholeness. And when you do find the right person, the love you share will be rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and the ability to grow together as two whole individuals, not two halves trying to complete each other. The foundation of any lasting relationship is built upon the principle of self-love. If you cannot love yourself, it is difficult to truly love another. When you cultivate this love within, you not only transform your relationship with yourself, but you also open the door to the kind of love that is authentic, pure, and transformative. Self-love is the key that unlocks the door to all the love that is waiting for you. One of the most profound aspects of trusting in divine timing and allowing the right person to find you is the idea of letting go of control. In today's world, we are often conditioned to believe that if we want something to happen, we must push for it relentlessly, work for it without rest, and force it into existence. Whether it's a career goal, a personal achievement, or a relationship, the common narrative often says, hustle harder, push further, and don't stop until you've succeeded. But what happens when we stop pushing, when we stop forcing outcomes, and instead choose to trust in the unfolding of life? This shift from control to surrender is not about being passive or indifferent. It's about recognizing the balance between effort and acceptance. Control, when we cling to it too tightly, becomes a form of resistance. It creates tension, anxiety, and discontentment. We believe that if we do not control every situation, we risk losing what we desire. But in truth, the more we try to control outcomes, the more we rob ourselves of peace, joy, and the possibility of something better than we could have planned. When you surrender control, you are not giving up on your goals or desires. Instead, you are choosing to let go of the need to micromanage every detail. You are trusting that the universe is already aligning things in your favor, even if you cannot see it yet. This doesn't mean you stop doing the work required to move toward your goals. It means that you release the attachment to a specific outcome and open yourself up to the many ways life might surprise you. Think of love as a perfect example of the need to let go of control. How many times have we heard someone say, "I'm looking for the one"? We create a mental image of what that person should look like, how they should behave, and what they should bring into our lives. We start to build an entire framework of expectations around this person and the kind of relationship we want. And when someone doesn't fit that exact mold, we might dismiss them, thinking they're not right for us, not realizing that the perfect partner may come in a completely different form. Letting go of control means releasing the need to force love into a specific shape. It means allowing love to come to you in its own time, in its own way, without trying to predict the outcome. It means trusting that the right person will find you when the time is right, without needing to arrange every detail. When we let go of this tight grip on control, we begin to allow space for organic connections to grow. Instead of forcing compatibility or trying to shape someone into the partner we want, we trust that the right person will come into our lives naturally as they are, and we will grow together in a healthy, harmonious relationship. In the same way, we have to learn to let go of the need to control our timing. Divine timing often looks nothing like we expect. We may feel as though we are behind in life or that we should be further along, but timing is not something we control, it's something we align with. When you try to rush things, you disrupt the natural order of life. You may force yourself into a situation that is not ready for you or miss the lesson that is being offered at that moment. Trusting in the flow of life means accepting that things will happen when they are meant to, and not according to your timeline. This doesn't mean sitting idle, though. It means doing the inner work, focusing on your growth, being present in the moment, and preparing yourself for the future that is unfolding. But it's also about understanding that you cannot force things to happen faster than they're meant to. It's about allowing yourself to enjoy the present moment and stop measuring your worth based on what's next or what's missing. Life will unfold as it is meant to, and the more you trust in that process, the more peace you will find. Growth is not a destination, it is a journey that requires consistency. Talent can give you a head start, motivation can fuel your first steps, but consistency is what takes you to the finish line. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a short period and underestimate what they can achieve over time with consistent effort. Small actions repeated every day create a ripple effect that turns into massive transformation. The question is not how big your actions are, it is how consistent they are. The world celebrates overnight success, but what looks like sudden achievement is often the result of years of consistent effort that no one sees. It is not glamorous. It is waking up early to practice when no one is watching. It is working on your craft long after the excitement wears off. It is making progress inch by inch when it feels like nothing is changing. Consistency is not about intensity, it is about commitment. The biggest mistake people make is relying on motivation to stay consistent. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes like the weather. When you feel motivated, everything is easy, you are excited, energized, and ready to take on the world. But what happens when that feeling fades? What happens when life gets busy, when setbacks arise, or when progress is slower than you expected? This is where most people give up. They wait for motivation to return, but motivation is unreliable. If you want to grow, you need something stronger than motivation, you need discipline. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It is not about perfection, it is about showing up. When you are disciplined, you don't ask yourself whether you feel like working out, you go to the gym anyway. You don't wait to be in the mood to work on your goals, you put in the work regardless. This is what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. Growth is not about doing big things occasionally, it is about doing small things consistently. But consistency is not about working non-stop until you burn out. It is about sustainability. Many people start with an intense burst of effort, but they cannot sustain it over time. They go to the gym for 2 hours a day for a week, then stop completely. They work on their goals for hours at a time, but give up the moment they get tired. Consistency is not about how fast you go, it is about staying in the game. A slow, steady pace that you can maintain long term is more powerful than short bursts of intensity followed by long periods of inactivity. Habits are the foundation of consistency. What you do daily shapes who you become. If you want to change your life, start by changing your habits. Small habits may seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound over time. If you read for 20 minutes a day, you may not notice a difference after a week. But after a year, you will have read several books. If you exercise for 30 minutes a day, you may not see results immediately. But after months of consistent effort, your body and health will transform. The power is not in the size of the action, it is in the repetition. The challenge with consistency is that progress is not always visible right away. In the beginning, it feels like nothing is happening. You put in the work, but there are no results. This is where most people give up, not because they lack the ability, but because they lose patience. Growth is invisible at first. Just like a seed takes time to break through the soil, your efforts take time to show results. Consistency is about trusting the process even when the results are not immediate. But life will not always go as planned. There will be days when you miss a workout, skip a task, or fall off track. This is where most people make another mistake. They quit altogether. They think, I missed one day, so I might as well give up. But consistency is not about never failing. It is about getting back on track as soon as possible. Missing one day will not ruin your progress, but missing several weeks might. The key is to keep going even when it is not perfect. Growth is not about sudden leaps, it is about small, consistent steps that add up over time. It is about showing up on the days when you feel like it and on the days when you don't. Consistency may not be exciting, but it is powerful. The question is not whether you are capable of growth, you are. The real question is, are you willing to be consistent enough to see it through? Growth is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It is a continuous process that requires self-reflection. Without reflection, you can be moving fast in the wrong direction. You can be doing more but growing less. Self-reflection is not about overthinking. It is about stepping back to evaluate where you are going, and whether your actions align with your values and goals. It is the habit of checking in with yourself, not just once in a while, but consistently to ensure you are on the right path. In today's fast-paced world, people rarely take time to reflect. They are so busy doing that they forget to ask why they are doing it. They chase goals because society says they should. They pursue careers that look impressive on paper but leave them feeling empty. Without reflection, growth becomes directionless. You may be climbing the ladder of success only to realize it is leaning against the wrong wall. Reflection is what helps you realign with what matters most. Self-reflection is not about judging yourself, it is about understanding yourself. It is about asking meaningful questions that reveal who you are and who you are becoming. Questions like, am I living according to my values? What am I doing well? And where can I improve? Am I growing or just staying busy? What is holding me back from becoming the person I want to be? These questions are not easy to answer, but they are necessary. They force you to look beyond the surface and face the truth even when it is uncomfortable. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens when you confront the parts of yourself that you would rather avoid. Reflection is a mirror, and sometimes the reflection is not what you want to see. But avoiding the truth does not change it. Facing it is the first step toward transformation. One of the most powerful ways to reflect is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts forces you to slow down and organize what is swirling in your mind. When you write, you gain clarity. You begin to see patterns, how your thoughts affect your actions, how your habits shape your results, and how your mindset influences your growth. Journaling is not about writing perfectly, it is about writing honestly. It is a conversation with yourself where you can be vulnerable without fear of judgment. But reflection is not just about looking back, it is also about looking forward. It is about setting intentions for who you want to become and how you want to live. When you reflect, you are not just evaluating your past, you are shaping your future. Growth is intentional. If you do not reflect on where you are going, you risk drifting through life without purpose. Self-reflection also teaches you the power of perspective. When you reflect, you gain the ability to see setbacks not as failures but as lessons. You start to understand that every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow. Without reflection, setbacks feel like walls blocking your path. With reflection, they become stepping stones that help you rise higher. But reflection without action is incomplete. It is not enough to know where you need to improve, you must take steps to improve. Many people reflect but never change. They gain insight but fail to apply it. Reflection is only powerful when it leads to action. After every reflection, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today to grow? Growth happens when reflection turns into resolution. The truth is, life will not pause for you to reflect. If you do not make time for reflection, you will live reactively, constantly responding to life instead of creating it. Reflection is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is how you make sure that your growth is not just movement but meaningful movement. The question is not whether you have time to reflect, you do. The real question is, are you making time to reflect often enough to change your life? Growth is not only about what you achieve, it is about who you surround yourself with. The people in your life are not just part of your journey, they shape your journey. They influence how you think, how you act, and what you believe is possible. You cannot grow in isolation, but you also cannot grow if you are surrounded by people who pull you down. The environment you choose will either elevate you or limit you. Humans are wired for connection. Whether you realize it or not, you absorb the attitudes, habits, and mindsets of the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with people who complain, you will start to see the world through a negative lens. If you surround yourself with people who strive for growth, you will be inspired to level up. The saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, is not just a catchy phrase, it is a psychological reality. But it is not just about being around successful people, it is about being around growth-minded people. There is a difference between those who have achieved success and those who continuously seek growth. The former may rest on their achievements, the latter constantly push themselves to become better. Growth is contagious. When you are surrounded by people who challenge themselves, you are more likely to challenge yourself. When you see someone overcome obstacles, you start to believe you can overcome yours. The people in your life serve as mirrors. They reflect back to you what you believe about yourself. If you are surrounded by people who doubt you, it becomes harder to believe in yourself. If you are surrounded by people who uplift you, it reinforces your confidence. This is why it is essential to be intentional about who you let into your inner circle. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, but surrounding yourself with the right people is not just about finding those who agree with you. Growth requires honest feedback. You need people who are not afraid to tell you the truth, not to tear you down, but to help you grow. The best relationships are not based on comfort, they are based on growth. A true friend is not someone who makes you feel good all the time, it is someone who helps you become better. At the same time, growth also requires you to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. This is one of the hardest parts of growth, outgrowing people you once felt close to. Not everyone will grow at the same pace as you. Some people will resist your growth because it makes them uncomfortable. They may try to pull you back to who you used to be because it is familiar to them. But staying small to make others comfortable is not kindness, it is self-betrayal. Letting go does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you care enough about yourself to prioritize your growth. You cannot carry everyone with you. Sometimes the best way to inspire others is to grow into your fullest potential and let them see what is possible. Some people will rise with you, others will not. That is okay. Growth requires courage, and part of that courage is knowing when to hold on and when to let go. But relationships are not just about what you can get, they are about what you can give. If you want to be surrounded by growth-minded people, be a growth-minded person. If you want to be around people who inspire you, be someone who inspires others. Relationships are not one-way streets. The energy you bring into your relationships will often determine the energy you receive. In the end, the people in your life will either expand you or confine you. They will either push you toward your potential or keep you where you are. The question is not whether relationships affect your growth you do. The real question is, are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow or people who keep you comfortable where you are? Growth is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. It is the quiet commitment you make to yourself every day to become a little better, a little wiser, and a little stronger than you were yesterday. It is not about perfection, it is about progress. Along the journey, you will face setbacks, doubts, and moments where growth feels impossible. But remember this: true growth is never wasted. Every lesson, every failure, every small step forward is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. The journey of personal growth is not linear. Some days you will soar and other days you will stumble. But even when you fall, you are still moving forward as long as you get back up. Growth is found in the persistence to keep going when it gets hard, the courage to face yourself with honesty, and the humility to know that you will always be a work in progress. As you walk this path, remember that growth is not just about what you achieve, it is about who you become. It is not about racing to the finish line, it is about embracing the journey with all its highs and lows. The destination is not the goal, the transformation is. So keep learning, keep reflecting, keep showing up even when it is hard. Surround yourself with people who challenge you and never settle for a life less than what you are capable of. The path of growth is not easy, but it is worth it. The question is not whether you can grow, you can. The real question is, will you choose to keep growing no matter what?